All right, all right, all right. We are now live. We are now live. I'll wait a minute or two to see if some more people will join us. If not, it'll just be an intimate setting tonight since it's so late on the East Coast. Uh, on a weeknight, I know people have to work and take their kids to school and all those things. So we'll just wait
All
a couple
right, all
more
right, all
minutes to
right.
see if
We are now live.
if people will actually show up. Sorry, I just heard myself. I wanted to make sure that I was that people could hear me and see me. So um yeah, we will be discussing game 2, which was not a good game for the New York Yankees, as we all just witnessed. Wasn't good enough. Um wasn't a good game at all, to say the least. Um I will start this off by being positive though. The Yankees have not played well in 2 games, in my opinion, and I think most people share that opinion. And the series is tied 1-1. You can say that the Yankees were lucky, but and that would probably be true, but so what? The fact of the matter is it's 1-1. It's a split series, and this might end up being a pretty long series. Not anything that I think people wanted. I think for some people they were probably hoping for a sweep. You might This is going 4 games at least, obviously. So and it might go 5. It might come back the way that things are going. I think the Royals are playing the Yankees pretty tough. I think that the Yankees are not playing their best. I firmly believe that if the Yankees had played their best in this game, or 75% of their best, the Yankees are up 2-0. They're clearly the better team. I still firmly believe that they're going to win the series. I think that they've made it a little bit more difficult for themselves. But I think that if the Yankees just play a little bit better and get a couple hits in a couple situations, they're up 2-0. But just like the luck in game 1 doesn't really matter, that what I just said doesn't matter at all. It's split. The Yankees obviously need to play better. They need to hit better. I mean, I feel like that's probably the place that we should start our conversation, our discussion. Thank you to everybody that's joining. Not a big group, but that's to be expected on a very late Monday night going into Tuesday night during the week. But I will start off talking about the Yankees offense. And I said this on the Patreon. I've tweeted about this. I've spoken about this all season, and I talk about this over the years. If you don't slug and control the other team's slug, you are probably not going to win a World Series. It's as simple as that. It is not simple to execute. It is not easy to do. But that is what modern day Major League Baseball comes down to. You can look at the Tigers Guardians series today. The Tigers and Tarek Skubal and their great bullpen were able to keep Cleveland's big bats off the board. They were able to control the slug, and they did it long enough until their player had the biggest hit of the game, which was a 3-run home run from Kerry Carpenter. That that is what modern day Major League Baseball comes down to. You can look at the Dodgers Padres series. You can look at the Phillies Mets series, especially the Phillies and Mets series. That series is crazy, and it's like home run derby. Most of the runs are being scored off for home runs. At least in game 2, it was. I know Castellanos had the single at the end of the game, but the drama in those games came from home runs. The Yankees are not slugging the ball. And when I say slug, I just mean extra base hits. Obviously, home runs are included, but they're not even hitting doubles, they're not hitting triples, they're not hitting balls in the gaps, they're not hitting balls down the line. They're not even driving the ball. That needs to change. That is the offensive issue here. It is very simple. Yes, we could talk about individual players. I'm sure we will talk about Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton and a couple other people. Juan Soto today was not good. He was not good. But overall, this comes down to one simple thing. You have to outslug your opponent. The biggest hit for the Royals tonight, or now I guess last night, was Salvador Perez's home run off of Rodon in the fourth inning. Changed the game. That's where the game changed. Rodon was cruising. He was dominating. And then he made a terrible pitch. Poor pitch selection. We'll talk about Rodon as well because I don't think he had a good game. I thought he had a great beginning to the game. And I think his performance towards the end of his start was abysmal. But the game-changing play in last night's game is the Salvador Perez home run. Comes down to slug. It's simple. And I'm going to keep repeating it. Aaron Judge, the conversation about Aaron Judge is centered around him not driving the ball. Yeah, there's strikeouts and all that stuff, but like outs are outs. The issue that everybody is having with Aaron Judge right now is that he's not driving the ball. Simple. Like this is not like rocket science. He's missing pitches to drive. They are pitching him tough in the sense that they're throwing the kitchen sink at him every at bat. But he's the best hitter on the planet. You got to deal with it. You got to figure out, like, when you get those mistakes, you can't miss them. And he's missed a bunch. As much as the Royals have pitched him tough, he's had multiple mistakes, and he's missed every single one. That is the problem right now with Aaron Judge. I don't really care about what he did in the past. I don't really care about game one. This is game to game. Like, the only thing that matters is the game that they are playing at that moment. It's the playoffs. This is not the regular season. We're not looking for season-long trends. We're not really – I don't know why we care about what happened in 2022 or 2021. That's 3 and 2 years ago, respectively. The only thing we care about right now is game 2 of the 2024 ALDS. And right now, Aaron Judge is missing pitches that he normally hits the shit out of. Giancarlo Stanton, hitting the ball hard on the ground. Can't do that. Have to hit the ball hard in the air. In the air. Juan Soto needs to have better at bats. He needs to be a threat. He was not good today. I thought he was completely overmatched. Can't happen. Can't happen. Can't happen. The Yankees' 2 best hitters in game 2 were Jazz Chisholm and John Birdie. Those can't be your 2 best hitters. And I would argue Birdie was their best hitter. Birdie drove the ball 3 times. He got unlucky, and Judge, or I don't think it was Judge. Somebody, it was Jazz. Jazz was talking about the Yankees had a lot of hard hit balls. They did not have a lot of hard hit balls. He had one. Stanton had a couple, but they're on the ground, so like that's not effective. And Birdie had a bunch of hard hit balls. That's not a lot for 27 outs and however many at bats that the Yankees had tonight. That's not good enough. The issue comes down to slug. You have to hit. You have to drive the ball. I don't even want to say hit home runs because that is hard to do, but you have to drive the ball. And the Royals pitchers gave them plenty of opportunities to do so. The Royals pitching was not good tonight. How many guys did the Yankees have on base? How many guys did the Royals allow on base? The Royals pitching was not good. You can look it up. They were not good. They were not good. Reagan's was not at his best. And the Yankees couldn't take advantage. First inning, again, second straight game. First and second, second and third in game 1, first and second in game 2. And you're not even advancing the runners. You're not driving the ball. You're not putting pressure on Reagan's. He was not Reagan's like. I wouldn't say he was bad. He was effective when he needed to be. He made pitches when he needed to. But when somebody says that, that means that they didn't pitch as well as they could have. You got to take advantage of these mistakes. And the Yankees, for two games, are not taking advantage of the mistakes. I don't mean to oversimplify things, but that's basically what's happening here. They're not punishing the mistakes. And the Royals' feeble offense is doing just enough in some innings to score some runs. The biggest hit on their end was Salvador's home run. And then Rodon kind of just like lost it. Totally lost it after that. Totally lost it. But for the Yankees offense, you can't miss mistakes. You can't have 19 guys left on base against a not good bullpen. You know, you can't tell me that somebody pitched well when there's 19 guys left on base. You didn't pitch well. I don't want to hear it. You made pitches when you needed to. Fine, you get credit for that. But overall, as a collective body of work, you left 19 guys stranded on the base pass. That means that like you were giving up traffic all game, and the Yankees just didn't capitalize. Can't happen. That's the issue. Now it's 2 games, but it's small size sample theater. That's the playoffs. So we can't rely too much on a 2-game thing. Doesn't matter. You got to take advantage and maximize the at-bats that are given to you in a given series. You know, you can't be out hit by the Kansas City Royals. I cannot stress enough how bad that offense is. That Kansas City Royals offense is horrific. You take out Bobby Witt and Salvador Perez, they're easily a basement offense, along with their AL Central brethren, the Chicago White Sox. They are below replacement level. Meanwhile, Michael Garcia, who had just as bad of a year as Anthony Volpe, or close to it, Garrett Hampson, Tommy Pham. No disrespect to Tommy Pham, but he's been on 3 teams already this year. Solid veteran. You know, have bat, will travel. But he can't be out hitting Aaron Judge and Giancarlo Stanton. That can't happen. Gary Hampson, come on, man. Come on. They can't hit better than Aaron Judge in a series. They can't have more hits than Giancarlo Stanton. I just don't. Can't happen. And again, people are going to mention, and I see it in the comments with Hawkeye, the past playoff experiences don't have anything to do with this. It can remind you of stuff. I get it. People want to make comparisons. It's natural. It's a totally different team. Carlos Rodon wasn't on the 22 team or the 19 team or the 20 team. Juan Soto wasn't here. Jazz Chisholm wasn't here. None of these guys were here. The 22, 19, 21, that has nothing to do with 24. The Royals weren't in the playoffs. Like, Cole Reagans wasn't there, and Bobby Witt Jr. wasn't in the playoffs a couple years ago. Like, that one has nothing to do with the other. It's just you have to take advantage of what is in front of you when it's in front of you, and they're not doing it. They didn't do it really well in the first game. You got to slug. You got to hit home runs. Like, whatever adjustment they need to make to, like, drive the ball is something that they need to, like, grasp onto quickly. You know, they have to. That's the difference between 1-1 and 2-0. Drive the ball. Can't. It's really nothing else. I mean, you could talk about the quality of at-bats, and I know that Boone does a thing that he does in these post-game press conferences when they lose. We had quality at-bats and blah, 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 blah. He is right, but also, who cares? You have quality at-bats up and down the lineup all game like you did and lose. You gotta drive the ball. You cannot miss these mistakes. You can't miss these mistakes. John Birdie can't be your best hitter. You know, can't happen. And I will give credit to the Royals. They made all the plays. The only play he didn't make was that rocket that Stanton hit to Bobby Witt Jr. And if he can't make that play, nobody can. You know, the Royals made all the plays. Tommy Pham was solid in right field. Bobby Witt made some nice plays. You know, they played pretty well, but the Yankees need to play better. You know, I thought that. Also, I just one more thing about the offense. I thought overall they were too aggressive on pitches out of the zone. Way too aggressive in pitches out of the zone. The last at bat with Glaber. Now I know it's 100. Like, so I'm not going to act like that is the easiest. This is the easiest thing to do. But I would just come in with the approach of, you know, I'm going to have this guy throw me a strike. You know, let me put myself in a position where if he can put something out over the plate and I have a chance to drive it, let me craft my at bat with that plan of attack in mind. Not let me just ambush him, because ambushes don't always work, especially when a guy's throwing 100. Like, let me see what this guy has. He had a rocky inning. Irsay wasn't like totally dominant. He had just given up a home run. He had just given up a hit. Let me see what I can do to put myself in a position to drive a ball. And if he's not throwing strikes, I have Juan Soto behind me. Let Juan Soto be the hero. And I felt like throughout this entire game, the Royals were let off the hook because guys were trying to like make something happen when the Royals weren't giving you good pitches. They were out of the zone all night. Like, part of it was they were making pitches and like pitchers pitches, but a lot of times the Yankees were just like helping them out and expanding the zone. No better example than that Glaber at bat at the end of the game. And Glaber's having a good series. He's one of the few guys that's having a solid series. He's getting on base. He's having good at bats. He had the home run, but he had a poor at bat at the end of the game. And I felt like that was part of the issue as well. They were a little too aggressive outside of the zone. Like the Royals, I have to be honest, outside of one inning, I don't think the Royals were good. Bobby Witt doesn't have a hit. They really only like had threats in the fourth and maybe like one or two other innings, but they weren't like huge threats. I don't think the Royals played that well. I don't think Reagan's was great. I thought Zerpa was good, and I thought Schreiber was good. I thought everybody else on the Royal side was okay on the pitching side, and they were able to string some hits together. I mean, I don't know. I don't want to disrespect the Royals. I don't. They're here. They're in a series. They have a chance to beat the Yankees. So I want to put that out there. But like in the totality of the game, I don't think that they were like fantastic. The Yankees had plenty of chances to blow this game wide open, and they just didn't do it. You know, the Royals won, give them credit, but like I don't think that the Royals have been like super impressive. They weren't impressive in game one. They're not impressive in this game. Their best pitcher wasn't great. Their best player is nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. Verdugo with a horrible at bat, 2-0. Horrible at bat. Horrible at bat. 2-0 and just like flailing at a pitch that's like borderline on the black pitch on 2-0. Weak ground ball to third base. There were like numerous examples. Yes, Hawkeye, the first inning at bat from Giancarlo swinging at a 2-0 pitch. Bad at bats. That's not you can't have those at bats in the playoffs. You know? It's not good enough. It's not good enough. The offense has to lock in. And when I say lock in, I mean controlling the strike zone and building at bats so you can cone in on mistakes and then drive them. No swinging at, especially when you're up in the count. Why are you swinging at pitchers' pitches? Like, again, easier said than done, but these are some of the best hitters in the world. They should be able to do that against pitching that's like not executing. I don't think that's too much to ask for a team that wants to win a World Series. That's what's required of you, and you can't always credit the other guys. They got to 2-0 for a reason. They weren't executing. You're helping them out. Verdugo helped them out. Giancarlo helped them out. Glaber helped them out. You could go up and down the lineup. Judge missing meatballs multiple times. Can't happen. Wells getting freezing on a pitch that's right down the middle, looking for something else. It's 2 strikes. The guessing game goes out the window. You can't guess with 2 strikes. Now you have to react. You have to like compete in the at bat. You're down 2 strikes. There's examples of that throughout the entire game, up and down the lineup. So I want to get to Rodon. Rodon obviously was amazing the first couple innings, fired up, just throwing fastballs by guys and commanding it really well. He was fantastic. But the thing that was missing was that pitchability. Rodon, to his credit, over the entire year, learned how to become a pitcher, learned how to read swings better, and had developed his arsenal to the point where if he could tell what a guy was looking to do based off his swing, he had a pitch to combat it. His fastball was pretty good this year, not at the 21 and 22 levels, but it was better than it was last year. But the thing for Rodon that made him have a solid year was the pitchability and the ability to expand his arsenal and the confidence to throw those pitches. And he could command those pitches for the most part. He didn't do that in this game. He had that great fastball and was blowing guys away, and he reverted back to old Rodon, and it called up to him. And when I say old Rodon, I mean fastball, slider, and that's it. 2-pitch pitcher. The pitch to Salvador Perez is a get-me-over slider, and I don't know why you're throwing that to Salvador Perez, who hits well against you and hits well against the Yankees. Like that, I don't know what's going on there. What are you doing? And for me, 3 solid innings or 3 great innings is not enough in the playoffs. If you have those 3 innings and with such efficiency and dominance, how are you out of the game in the 4th inning in a playoff game? How did you go from 3 dominant innings to being in the dugout watching the relievers pick you up in the 4th inning? How does that happen? That is inexplicable. It's unacceptable. I think that for me, that's a bad start. You're getting paid $160 million. You can't just give me 3 innings. You're not the opener. You're not the bulk guy. You're the starter. Really disappointing for me. I thought that start was extremely disappointing. And that's acknowledging how great the first 3 innings were. But you can't fall off a cliff like that. What are you doing? It's a 1-0 game. I just don't understand how you went from here. Like, I'll have my hand off the screen. That's how good he was at the beginning. And then I go, I'm going to go to the bottom of the screen. That's where he ended up in an inning. He doesn't even finish the inning. What happened? He doesn't even finish the 4th inning. That's terrible. He had a terrible start, in my opinion. I don't understand. Where was the pitchability? Where was the changeup? Where was the cutter? Where was the moving the ball inside and outside? Where was the low and away pitch to righties? Where's that slider that goes to the back foot? of righties. Where were those pitches? What happened? What happened? Where did it go? What happened? Not only did you give up the lead, you put them in a hole. In over the course of like 2/3 of an inning. What happened? How is that acceptable? That's terrible. That is terrible. I thought he was terrible. Like I don't how does that happen? I don't understand. How does that one home run unravel what was looking like a fantastic start? What happened where you were dominating them and then all of a sudden they're putting these great at bats against you? What happened? Is it focus? Was it a lack of execution? Was it something physical? Was it mechanical? What happened? And in the post game, there's no answers. There's no answers. No answers. Like nothing of any kind of like nuance or anything to explain how dramatic a fall off that was. And the TBS broadcast is bad. There is I like Ron Darling. Bob Costas is a legend. I know everybody says this. He's a legend, but like he should not be doing play-by-play for playoff games. And part of the reason is there is no space to really analyze what's happening. And I know Ron Darling is a fantastic analyst because I hear him on SNY all the time. And he's allowed the space to analyze. There's nobody explaining to us how Rodon went from no hit stuff, which is what Ron Darling said early on in the game, and then he gave up a hit right after that. So Ron Darling like hit us with that Mets jinx. And then he goes from no hit stuff to can't get out of the fourth inning. Why didn't he use his two other pitches at some point? What happened? I don't understand. What happened? Michael K made a good point in the Yes post game show. It's part of the reason why we do it after the Yes post game show. How is it that you establish your fastball, and it looks fantastic, and then you don't use that the second time through the order to start introducing your other pitches? What happened? As I'm speaking, I'm gonna look at the usage because I'm like really curious what happened here with Rodon. I'm just like really confused, and I want to. Yeah, I'm looking at it now. So he threw 72 pitches altogether. Now, that in of itself is crazy. He threw 72 pitches in less than 5 innings, right? Before he got to the fourth inning, he was like at 40 something pitches. His efficiency was fantastic in the first 3 innings. So he throws 72 pitches in total, 37 fastballs, 24 sliders, 7 changeups, 3 curveballs, 1 cutter. That's old Rodon. That's the Rodon that didn't work last year. Why? Why? I don't understand. You're not facing a good lineup. That lineup stinks. Why are you making yourself predictable? Why are you putting yourself in a position where they can start to hone in on particular things? This is something that we spoke about on the Patreon with Chris earlier today. It is very clear from their matchup against Garrett Cole, the Royals are hunting fastballs. And if you hang something, they'll try to attack it, but like they're going after fastballs. Why are you making yourself so predictable? Why? I don't understand. He only got 4 swing and misses on the 4-seamer. 4 swing and misses out of 37 pitches. That's not good enough. It's not effective. It was effective at the beginning, and then it like just went away. And I'm pretty sure those 4 swing and misses were in the first 2 innings. Come on, man. That's not good enough. Like I just don't understand what was happening. And yes, Aaron, I agree with you. Like he did not have good command of the slider. I mean, the home run from off of the home run that he gave up to Sal Perez was on a slider, a 2-0 slider that he just was like trying to get over and got crushed. What are we doing? It's like Emmanuel Clase earlier in the game against the Tigers, which I didn't understand at all. He threw 2 terrible sliders to Carpenter and then threw a 3rd terrible slider. Same thing with Rodon here. His fastball was more effective. If you're going to go to the 2 pitches and not use the other pitches for whatever reason, you got to go with the better pitch. The better pitch is the fastball. What do you think of Rodon beating his chest off the first 2 innings? Talking Yankees guys think he dumped all his adrenaline. I don't think that that's what it was. I think he was still pumping fastballs with high velocity. And, the fastball was still effective. And he still had his velocity. I just think he didn't have any pitchability. And the one pitch that he was using off of the fastball wasn't very good. Or wasn't good towards the end. Let's see here. For his slider. 5 swing and misses. So his slider was getting a little bit more swing and miss until you got to the 4th inning where it just kind of fell apart. I don't think it was about the adrenaline thing. I mean, I don't think he pitched. If that pitched, I'll put that in quotation marks. I don't think he was pitching anymore. Now, if that has something to do with like adrenaline, which it might, then okay. But to me, he wasn't pitching. He reverted to old Rodon. Fastball, slider, fastball, slider, fastball, slider. I'm not going to throw anything to get you off these 2 pitches. Again, I will look at it. I will look at the breakdown again. 72 pitches, 37 fastballs, 24 sliders. That's 84% of his pitches tonight. That's not what he did all year. He made it a point all year to introduce a changeup and a cutter. And again, this is something that we talked about on the Patreon with Chris earlier today. He got away from being that 2-pitch pitcher, and he was way more effective in his second year as a Yankee than his first. And he reverted back to what he knew. Just he didn't pitch. There wasn't pitchability. No change in the speeds. Hard fastball, hard slider. No changeup, no cutter, nothing with like horizontal movement. Nothing that like low and away to righties. It's just I think it was more pitchability. As we're speaking here, I'll look at Carlos Rodon's pitch plot here. Yeah. I mean, I wish I could show you this, but I don't think I could share screens here. But yeah, just a lot of pitches up in the zone and then sliders like down and away in the dirt. Nothing depending on like who you were looking at, the handiness of the batter. Let's go. Let's see. Sorry. I'm trying to not like have it go quiet while we're doing this, but he essentially didn't have anything that was going away from batters. Like there was just no pitchability there. Like I said, I mean, I'm not trying to like disprove what the Talking Yanks guys are saying. I'm sure adrenaline played a small part in it, but I don't think that was the primary issue. He lost his command and was a 2-pitch pitcher, and they had seen it already. They had an entire turn through the order, and I'm pretty sure in the dugout they're saying, man, you don't have to worry about the curveball. You don't have I'm sorry, you don't have to worry about the curve, you don't have to worry about the changeup, you don't have to worry about the cutter. He's not throwing it. Sit fastball slider. Because all of a sudden that one inning, they were on him. The pitch to Tommy Pham in the 4th inning, hanging slider. Tommy Pham has terrible numbers against Carlos Rodon. Hanging slider up in the zone. Now, if you want to say that the drop in adrenaline impacted his command, cool. But like, you can throw another pitch. You threw a bad slider to Salvador Perez. It might be time to introduce another pitch. It's the second time through the order. You know, let's start seeing some other pitches now. Bad slider to Tommy Pham. Gets smoked. You know, you can't be a 2-pitch pitcher. After a while, you know, you've gone through the order. They're talking in the dugout. They're seeing these things. They have the iPads. They know it's you know what I mean? Like it's basically like becoming predictable. And then when he got to the second time through the order, they knew what was coming. It's either going to be a fastball or slider. These guys are like super smart when it comes to that stuff. They're so locked in. Especially playoff time. Lots of conversations on the bench, hitting coaches or telling them stuff. And they have video. They could go through everybody's at bat. Oh, I haven't seen a changeup. Have you? No, I've seen fastball, slider. I thought he was terrible. And that includes how good he was in the first 3 innings. I thought that 4th inning was horrific. He just totally lost it. And I would also say that it felt like it was a bad game plan. Because where were the other pitches at? What happened? I know I keep saying what happened, but like I'm like really fascinated by this. Why was this the game plan? And this is especially true because as Chris mentioned, when they spoke to Rodon yesterday, the first thing that came out of his mouth about the Royals' plan of attack was they were sitting fastball on Cole. He knew it. He knew what they were doing. So why do you go in this game as a 2-pitch pitcher? I don't understand. You know, and if you were feeling your fastball as you were in the first 3 innings, why did you get off of it? Why are you throwing these sliders to Perez and Pham? And I also think the Garrett Hampson hit was a slider as well. I think it was I believe, I don't have it in front of me. I believe Hampson got that single to left field where Jazz Chisholm was like in space and wasn't in a cutoff position. I think that was also on a slider that Rodon could not bury to a righty. Well, I mean, where are the other pitches? Where's the changeup that could go low and away to a righty? Get that guy fit. That guy would have corkscrewed in the dirt if he throws a changeup low and away. 3 hits on a slider. So I'm guessing it's Perez, Pham, and Hampson. All huge hits. All led to runs. And those are the 3 hits. I know it's Perez and Pham, and I think the third one was Hampson. Garrett Hampson. He's like a Rockies reject. Come on. Come on. What are we doing? Yeah, Gurriel, man. Like I'm sick of Gurriel. I've made it like very clear how I sports hate Yuli Gurriel. Like my man's 65 and he's like playing like he's 35, and it's annoying. Like get him out of here. I, you know, I just have a lot of issues with Rodon because I feel like that inning could have been avoided. The Royals didn't do anything before that inning or after that inning. They didn't have a big threat after that. I'm not. I don't think it was Gurriel. I think it was Hampson. At least in the sliders. I know Hampson had to hit that. Hampson is the one who hit the ball where Verdugo threw home and Chisholm should have cut the ball off. So, and I remember in the pitch. I mean, in that at bat, that it was a pitch that he went down and got it, and I think that it was a slider because he didn't bury it. I mean, come on, man. Come on. Where's the cutter? Where's the curve? What? Disappointing. I might be in the minority. You guys can tell me if you look at it any other way. But I thought he was disappointing. I thought that fourth inning like kind of ruined everything, obviously. Yeah, Gurriel, that might have, but that wasn't in the inning that they scored all those runs. Or maybe it was, but the big hit was the Hampson hit. The Hampson hit drove in the run. So I'm really like focusing on the big hits that drove in runs. I thought Rodon was extremely disappointing and cost them a game, along with the offense. I mean, the offense is the biggest culprit here. Like, let's be clear. They scored 2 runs. 2 runs is not good enough. I don't care if you're playing the Royals, the Astros, the Dodgers, the Mets, the Phillies, Guardians. I don't care. 2 runs is poor. Piss poor. It's not good enough. Yeah, I mean, again, like the pitch selection all night was kind of curious, especially because again, Rodon knew what the Royals' game plan was. They were jumping the fastballs, and maybe it's a case of like he felt so good about his fastball, and he was like, you know what, I know you're looking for it, and you still can't hit it, so I'm good, and then I could just play the slider off the fastball. And I have a feeling that if Rodon pitches against the Royals again in Game 5, I can almost guarantee you he will be a 4-pitch pitcher. I'm sure that is one of the things that when he looks at that tape and he goes over it with Blake and Wells or whoever, Blake and him, whoever is in those meetings, I can almost guarantee you that part of the conversation will be you got to bring this change up into the fold. You got to throw a cutter or you got to throw a curveball. Whatever it is, you have to introduce at least one more pitch, and one of them has to be a changeup. Those guys would be corkscrewing in the ground if somebody's just throwing changeups to them. They are so keyed up for like harder velocity pitches right now. That's all that they're looking for. Now, I'm not a major league coach or anything like that, but you could tell on your couch. You can see it. You can see it. They're hunting fastballs. Now, the Yankees bullpen has been fantastic. They've been able to like limit some of that damage. They've been fantastic. The bullpen's been great. But like even when they get hits off the bullpen, it's all fastballs. I think the only one that's like really throwing changeups is Luke Weaver. He caught Bobby Witt with a filthy change. Bobby, like first pitch of the at bat, Bobby Witt had no shot at that pitch. You know. So let's look forward to Game 3 before we get out of here because it's getting pretty late, at least on the East Coast, wherever you guys are. I'm not sure, but I'm in New York and it's pretty damn late. So game 3, Seth Lugo. Seth Lugo pitched the best game against the Yankees, I think, all year in September when the Royals were in New York. That doesn't mean a damn thing going into game 3. He could be great again. The Royals could still lose. I think that if the Yankees have an early opportunity to put guys on base, they have to put their foot on the Royals' necks. They have to like score early if the opportunity presents itself. We cannot have a third straight game where you have traffic on the bases with less than 2 outs and you just flail away and have horrible at bats. They have to, in my opinion, for many reasons, if they are able to create traffic on the base pass early, they absolutely must cash in or they are going to have issues the rest of the game. If the opportunity presents itself. And yes, Jerk Tube, they need to drive the ball and hit some homers. It's time to slug now. Like, craft your at-bats where you give yourself an opportunity to get a pitch that you can drive. You know, I'll even take in the first inning, if they get traffic, manufacturing a run. Just get a run. How different is this game if first and second you move them over, second and third, little sacrifice fly or RBI ground out, whatever have you, you at least bank a run. Bank a run. Just bank a run early. You know, drive the ball when you have a chance, but try to get that early lead. Especially with Clark Schmidt pitching. Clark Schmidt hasn't pitched in like a week and a half. You know, let him settle in on the road. He has a road playoff start. Let him settle in. Give him a run or two. And then let him go to work. You know, I feel good about Clark, but I think I would feel better if like they just gave him an early lead. A home run would be great. Manufacture a run early on. Just get a lead. Just get an early lead. 1 or 2 runs. You know, take the crowd out of it. Do enough so we don't get 500 fucking George Brett cutaways with his wife that's not paying attention to the game. If I see another George Brett cutaway, I might punch my television. And I'm not trying to sound like a crazy sports fan, but like enough with the George Brett shit. Like we're like going down memory lane and the Yankees beat the Royals damn near every series. How you reminiscing about George Brett and he lost most of those series against the Yankees? Enough. Get a lead early so we don't have to see George Brett. Like do that favor for us, New York Yankees. We don't want to see George Brett anymore. Cut that shit out. So I think one of the keys is to get an early lead. Put pressure on the Royals offense. Put the Royals offense in a position where now they have to be aggressive and they start to swing out of the zone. And they have to like decide if they still want to stay on the fastball or not. Put pressure on the Royals offense. The Royals offense, in my opinion, top to bottom, has outperformed the Yankees offense, which is ridiculous because that offense sucks. It's a 2-man offense. Enough with letting Michael Garcia play a big role in this. Enough with Yuli Gurriel playing a big role in this. Garrett Hampson. Enough with these guys, man. Enough. Put pressure on them to start making bad swing decisions because now they have to make things happen. And yes, agreed, Aaron. Like, I don't know why Boone didn't go to the bench once. And one more thing. Alex Verdugo. It was good while it lasted, that one game. Gave him his props. You know, again, it's the playoffs, so if you're contributing to the Yankees winning, I'm all for it. But, like, he had a bad game. Like, he was I know he had the one hit, but, like, he also had a couple bad at bats and like enough. And I know people talk about Jazz being out of position. Part of that issue too is Verdugo thinking he could throw the guy out at home. Just throw the ball to second base. Just throw the ball to second base. It's the playoffs. Yeah, man. Now I gotta give him the business. Not too much because I don't think he was horrific, but like I don't think he played that well. Like I think he's part of the reason why one of those runs scored in left field. Again, Jazz Chisholm was absolutely out of position, and the Yes Network like talked about it. But as an outfielder, that is also partly your responsibility to know where the ball is going in certain situations, and including, is it worth it for me to try to throw this guy out at the plate, or do I keep the runner out of scoring position who just got the hit? And the way that inning is unfolding, you got to keep that guy at first base. The guy ended up scoring. Like Chisholm was in the wrong, but I also think Verdugo was in the wrong. You have to know that. You need a fantastic throw to throw that guy out to make it worth it. And it wasn't a fantastic throw. Just throw it to second base, keep the guy at first base. Now it's a 3-2 game instead of a 4-2 game. It plays out differently. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Oops, sorry, hold on. Yeah, I mean, they need to play a little bit cleaner, a little bit smarter. But again, this is about the offense, and Clark Schmidt is going to have to show up and give them more than 4 innings. You know, he's going to have to go through that rotation. I'm sorry, through that lineup more than once. You know, and I only say that because ultimately, the more you go to your bullpen, the more chances you're giving for somebody to have an off day, and for bad offenses like the Royals to, cash in. So early lead for the Yankees, I think, is paramount. If another opportunity presents itself with guys on base, they got to cash in. I think that'll go a long way towards calming the team down, getting the pitcher in a good space, and then you go from there. Then you go play baseball. But like, establish yourself early on the road. We're the Yankees. We're better than you. We're going to take it to you. It took us a minute to find our footing offensively, but like, let's go out there and show you who we are. And I'm going to say that that's going to happen in game 3. I know Seth Lugo's a fantastic pitcher. He's having a really good year, but it's the playoffs. Anything could happen. Michael Garcia could be killing you for 2 games. I mean, anything could happen at this point. So I'm going to say the Yankees go out to a nice early lead, and they keep that offensive pressure on them the entire game. I think it's time for the Yankees, because I don't want to say that they're close, because I don't think that they're close in the like traditional sense of that term, but I do think they have created so much traffic that I don't think that that's going to change. And if you give yourself opportunities, at some point, somebody has to like come through. And I think once they get that one big hit, then they're off to the races. They just need somebody to like kind of, take the lead, break through that little runners in scoring position, little issue in the first 2 games, break through, kind of have everybody exhale and say, okay, now we can get going. And if it's Aaron Judge, even better, because now you're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. I don't think it needs to be Judge. It has to be a Yankee. Somebody in Yankees pinstripes. I mean, all these guys have had opportunities with guys in scoring position. If it's Judge, even better. Like, obviously, we want him to start getting going. But for me, the need is anybody that wears Yankee pinstripes. Austin Wells, Stanton, Judge, Chisholm. I don't, at this point, just wear. Well, I guess he won't be wearing pinstripes on Wednesday, but like on the road grays, just somebody in the road grays that says New York with a New York helmet on, get a big hit. If it's Judge, even better. Just do it. Just do it. And I think once that happens, then I think you'll see the Yankees offense that we saw for most of the year show up. True, but the star of the team has to show up at some point, doesn't he? I'm not. Yes, the answer is yes, but I don't think everything is predicated on the stars. I don't agree with that. I mean, yes, in its simplest form in terms, yes. The star has to show up at some point. Yes, because he's the star. Yes. So like the answer to your question is yes, but like also the offense has been so unproductive in the first 2 games that like to me it's somebody on the Yankees needs to get a big hit. And then even if it's not one of the stars, I think that also helps the stars. Less pressure. Now I could just go out and hit and do my thing. So, all right, that's it. Let's wrap it up. It's almost 1 a.m. and we've had a lot of Yankee talk, engagement, the game. Thank you to everybody for checking us out. If you want to subscribe to the Patreon, you can do so at patreon.com/the views from 314 feet. And thank you everybody for checking in. Thanks for the chat. Thanks for staying up so late and listening to me blabber and just spew stuff. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you for checking us out. And we will speak to you on Wednesday. See you then.